News and 6 right now on the WHAS11 night team. They're fed up, overwhelmed, with no clear path to a solution.
Are we going to stick to this time? And how many people are going to stand in the gaps of our children?
Rising attacks by Louisville teenagers, young people committing violent crime. Tonight, we're at a community forum that filled up a local church. Plus, the horrific beheading in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
You see the guy one day going out to get his meal, and the next day something that horrible happened right in your yard next door.
And then, if you've ever had to replace your roof, wait until you hear the ticket on the KFC Yum Center, closing 3rd Street until December. Right now on the WHAS 11 night team. Right now here at 11 o'clock, we begin with breaking news just into the newsroom about a story that we followed closely during our early evening newscast tonight. We've learned a little while ago that a woman is dead after this rollover crash that happened on I-65 north of downtown Louisville in Indiana tonight. Now, we covered this accident as it was happening in our 6 p.m. newscast. The crash did happen just after 5 o'clock tonight on I-65 near the Sellersburg, Indiana exit. Indiana police telling us that 70-year-old passenger Gloria Jones was ejected from the vehicle. A Ford F-150 attempted to merge into the far left lane when it hit a Chevrolet Malibu, according to officers. This caused both vehicles to lose control and spin right into the median there at the guardrail. The drivers of both vehicles had little to no injuries, but again, Jones, 70 years old, a passenger, died at the scene. The crash causing all lanes of northbound I-65 to be closed, while 2 left lanes southbound were also blocked. And the roadway opened just before 8:30 p.m. tonight. And also breaking news tonight, a man stabbed in downtown Louisville. This happened just before 7 o'clock tonight. Police discovering a man near 1st and Broadway downtown. Officers say EMS was flagged down by an adult man saying he had been stabbed. The man told officers he did not know the suspect who, quote, cut him, and the suspect ran off. He was the injured man was taken to University Hospital with minor injuries, but is expected to survive. Officers later learned that this incident happened south of the location near Floyd and Jacob. And right here tonight, they are worried, frustrated, both demanding and looking for answers tonight. Teenage violence, fatal shootings plaguing their neighborhoods. It's one of our top stories right now on the WHAS 11 night team, and thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. Residents filled a local church tonight, supported by the police chief and Metro Council members. WHAS 11 night team's Jose Alonso covering the call to action.
When Louisville took discipline out of schools, this is your outcome.
King Solomon Missionary Baptist Church in West Louisville had pews and walls lined with concerned citizens.
Homicides just don't happen in the West End. They happen in the East End too. They just don't talk about it.
Multiple Metro Council members invited Louisvillians to discuss violence among the youth in their neighborhoods. Latrice Williams, South End.
The gun violence is just one problem, but also there's no love. The love is not being shown, and the love is supporting our parents, our children. If there were love out here, a lot of this would not be happening.
One of the things that we are suffering for more than anything, and that is love for one another.
It was just last week where a shooting took place on 10th and Chestnut Streets. It's a bus stop for JCPS students and the site of a memorial for Rhodesia Williams, a mother of 2 who was shot dead.
My son is a freshman at Central, so I was in panic. And then the same sense, a woman losing her life, the children that got to see it, it's going to be devastating in their mind.
Edith Jones, Newburgh.
So I'm glad that we came today to hear the voices of the people in all these communities. We just know things are going to get better. We just believe that. And sorry it took this tragedy for us to come together.
Among the crowd, Louisville Metro Police Chief Paul Humphrey and multiple LMPD officers.
Parenting is not easy. We need people to start grabbing these parents when they're young. We got too many 15, 16-year-old parents that don't know how to be parents. And we're asking them to raise people in a very dangerous environment. And we are seeing the results of it.
At this meeting, no one blamed police. Instead, keeping with the main message tonight, Let's address youth violence, keep these meetings going, and come together as a community to find solutions. In Louisville, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 Night Team on your side.
New tonight and only on WHAS 11 News. The Jefferson County Commonwealth's attorney, Jerina Weathers, telling us in a live interview today that she is looking to a Michigan law as she is now pushing to start charging parents for the violent crimes of their juveniles here in Kentucky. Lawmakers would have to change or create new laws in the bluegrass for that to happen.
Parents can be held liable civilly. They can be held liable with truancy law, and they can be held liable when a juvenile damages personal property and things like that. But overall, Michigan is really our first state that actually, on that level, on the felony level, with district attorneys that actually came in and actually prosecuted, parents, and now they're serving time.
Again, this will need lawmaker backing, so we asked House Majority Leader Republican Jason Nemeth of Middletown. He said, quote, holding parents accountable for the crimes of their minor children is a policy that is worth strong consideration. The devil's in the details for sure, but at some point parents need to be accountable. Nemeth's going on to say again, crafting the parameters of the policy will take creativity and compassion, but parents cannot simply let their children run wild without being held responsible. Updating now the latest information we have on last week's stunning violence in Louisville. Still no arrests have been made after the deaths of 2 Louisville mothers last week. Louisville Metro Police continue searching for suspects. Redasia Williams was shot Wednesday morning while she was walking her young daughter near the bus stops at 10th and Chestnut Streets. Police on Friday did say that based on the video they've reviewed, she was targeted. Later that evening, Jeremiah Offutt, an expectant mother of 3, was killed at a food mart at 41st and Broadway. A young mother who was caught in the crossfire between 2 groups of people shooting at each other. Police say the 2 incidents are not connected, and they're asking anyone who can still help detectives to call them anonymously at 574-LMPD. Right here tonight, Kentucky State University in Frankfort, the state capital, remains on high alert following a weekend shooting on campus that injured 2 people. It happened just after 2:30 in the morning on Sunday. Police in Frankfort say an unknown person fired several shots from a car near Young Hall. Witnesses saying 15 to 20 shots fired. Campus police were already there when the shots were fired and immediately secured the area. 2 people who are not students were hit by bullets and injured. Both were taken to the hospital in Frankfort, and one has already been released. There was damage to a KSU police vehicle and the exterior to a tutoring hall at Young Hall. KSU is taking precautionary steps by remaining on heightened alert and allowing only registered students with a valid ID to access residence halls. They have also requested increased patrols by campus police and security in Frankfort. Now tonight to our report on the horrific beheading that happened in Jeffersonville. We do want to warn you that the details in this developing story continue to get even more gruesome. Bryce Winnecke is accused of killing and decapitating his father, Eric, in Jeffersonville. Court documents say Bryce called him the evilest person on earth, even telling his own mother, quote, I cut his head off, end quote. Our Ian Hardwick has been going through the new details.
It's been pretty traumatic.
The traumatic death of Eric Winnecke happened on Summerlin Place, but it's not clear when the death happened. According to a probable cause affidavit, Bryce Winnecke's mother, Ann Winnecke, first called Jeffersonville police on the morning of August 15th. Shortly after, she called her son, Bryce. Police say that Bryce told his mom, quote, I killed him. I went over to Dad's because he is the evilest person that ever lived. I cut his head off. Those details came out in newly released court documents for the case against Bryce. He's charged with murder and the abuse of a corpse. Security video from Eric's house shows Bryce leaving with a plastic bag police believe had the father's head inside. That was on August 15th. Just before Ann called the police. However, nighttime security cameras show what they believe is Bryce walking up to his father's house before midnight on August 13th. Police say they found a white plastic bag with Eric's head inside of it in Bryce's bedroom after his 4-hour standoff with SWAT leading up to his arrest. Bryce had holed himself up inside his mother's house where he lived, half a mile from his father's. Inside the father's Summerlin Place home, police described a bloody crime scene in Eric's bedroom. A detective said the man had been stabbed and a blade was found nearby. Neighbor Sandy Cook said it's been empty since Saturday.
You see the guy one day going out to get his mail, and the next day something that horrible happened right in your like in your yard next door.
And Bryce's mother told police that Eric stopped responding to her messages on August 14th, the day before his body was found. I'm Ian Hardwitt for the WHAS11 Night Team, on your side.
Bryce's mother, Ann Winicky, and Eric were divorced, but they spoke frequently over the phone. She warned him their son was delusional. While Bryce Winicky was originally scheduled to be in court today, it was delayed until tomorrow afternoon for medical issues. WHAS 11 News will be there for full coverage. More late developing news today. We learned that it's not happening this week after all. The sentencing of Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson now being moved to September. The two men were found guilty in the murder case of Crystal Rogers, the Bardstown mother reported missing 10 years ago. Jurors found the two men guilty in July, and they were scheduled to be sentenced this Thursday. But according to the court, Joseph Lawson is experiencing serious health issues that will delay the hearing. He is a paraplegic in a wheelchair. Jurors recommended life in prison for Houck and 25 years for Lawson. The sentencing to be held in Bardstown has now been rescheduled to September 17th. That is a Wednesday. Happening today, Ukrainian President Zelensky returned to the White House today for the first time since February. Unlike last time, which resulted in harsh words being exchanged right in the Oval Office, this meeting was more cordial. Zelensky had major support from European leaders who also met with President Donald Trump to discuss the path to peace in Ukraine. The summit follows Donald Trump's meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday. Here's ABC's Christiane Cordero.
In a 180 from his last White House visit, today Ukraine's President Zelensky received a warm welcome from President Trump, along with some of Europe's top leaders. The group held discussions about bringing an end to the war in Ukraine, now raging on 3.5 years after Russia invaded.
We are very happy with President that all the leaders are here, and the security in Ukraine depends on the United States and on you and on those leaders who are with us in our hearts.
The summit comes days after Trump's meeting with Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Trump today said Putin may be open to one of Zelensky's demands. Zelensky has been adamant peacekeeping reinforcements are necessary to prevent Russia from invading again in the future.
In a very significant step, President Putin agreed that Russia would accept security guarantees for Ukraine.
But it's unclear what those security guarantees may entail. Trump offered few details other than saying it'd be a joint effort by the U.S. and Europe.
I think that the European nations are going to take a lot of the burden. We're going to help them, and we're going to make it very secure.
But today, the Kremlin said any plan that involves NATO troops are, quote, unacceptable. The Alaska meeting with Putin ended without a ceasefire agreement. Trump previously warned such results would warrant consequences, but later shifted to say he'd rather see a long-term peace agreement. European leaders today pressed Trump as the focus moves to another meeting with Ukraine and Russia at the table.
In order to organize such a trilateral meeting, your idea to ask for a truce or a ceasefire, at least to stop the killings, as we discussed, is a necessity.
Afterwards, President Trump called Putin and said they are beginning to arrange a trilateral meeting. In the meantime, the war rages on. Russian airstrikes in Kharkiv last night killed at least 7 Ukrainian civilians, including 2 children. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, the White House.
And tonight, the growing and powerful hurricane in the Atlantic. Mandatory evacuations are in place for parts of the Outer Banks of North Carolina tonight. Hurricane Aaron, a Category 4 storm, is expected to cause life-threatening rip currents and surf conditions along the entire East Coast. It is the first hurricane of the Atlantic season here at the end of August, and it's churning today in the Caribbean. Winds up to 140 miles per hour, possible waves up to 20 feet high. Evacuations again underway in the Outer Banks. Lifeguards were racing into the water in North Carolina. Officials say more than 50 people rescued just today.